What is going on? Welcome to an episode of the Youre Still Here podcast, where the minute and the second that I want to record the largest plane you've ever heard of, they're testing the craziest planes known to man at JFK. Those are flying overhead. And then the loudest landscapers who all their new equipment broke down and they had to bring on their 80s leaf blowers that sound like they're running the largest machine ever right outside my door take place right before I'm about to record. But now we're starting. If you hear a large leaf blower, apparently they have to do 18 rounds every second that I'm filming the podcast. But if I don't film the podcast, it won't come for 3 weeks. They strategically wait for me. But what is going on, everyone? Wait, what are you looking at right now? Why am I like this? Well, I watched that quarterbacks documentary that I mentioned either last week or the week before. I have no gauge of time. And I heard Kirk Cousins, after they showed clips of him singing like Bye Bye Birdie in high school, saying, you know what, you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's something that I always remembered. Like, I was terrified of doing some scenes in acting class, because before I was at a point that I deemed acceptable, even though I don't even think I ever got there, I was always worried that somebody was going to see me do an awful scene. And then if I ever straightened myself out down the line, they're going to be like, I saw this guy, he sucked. And I remember just how nervous I would feel that I would look awful in retrospect, but I was able, that's one of the many kinks that you work out along the way. And I think it's time to feel a little uncomfortable. I got my beach look also because the heat wave it's just 90 degrees all week. And although I had the AC pumping, I turned it off right before I filmed this. It's a matter of minutes, seconds before it's 98 degrees, like the band and like those commercials. What was that commercial? That gum commercial? We were like, it's 98.6 degrees inside your mouth. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Oh, winter. It has to be Winter Fresh.
It's a scorching 98.6 degrees inside your mouth.
Yeah!
But inside a Winter Fresh mouth?
Tastes much cooler.
So the Winter Fresh gum is going to be 98.6 in here in a couple of seconds. And this is an episode where I don't care if people are talking about it. This is something that needs to be addressed. We need to talk about something in particular, and that is the NPC blitz that we're being hit with. What is an NPC? A non-person of color. No, it's not that. But, nowadays, POC and an NPC. Well, there's too many letters. Well, why did I just forget? With an A, what's it called? When you get AP, and when you shorten things, it's called. Wow, this is so embarrassing.
And I'm no help here.
This was
something you learned in English
anybody
class.
with a relative brain that they have to be moving on at this point. No, this is sick because. Well, that's my hint to just move on, because I forgot that I had this white cream on my nose to symbolize sunblock. Why is that? I'm playing a character at the beach, and because it is directly in line with these NPC characters that you see right behind me. What are NPC characters? What are these non-person? No, it's a non-playable character. What's a non-playable character? If you look around, you'll see, like, I got Nintendo video games. A non-playable character, in simple terms, those people you see in video games who aren't an integral part of this story. So if you just see some guy walking off to the side, you don't punch him in the face, you don't do anything. He's kind of got two motions in a loop. And this has made its way into the mainstream. It started, as most things, pretty funny. People were walking like the characters you see in video games. You know when you play a video game and someone just has like that stride, and when they start running, there's a great stand-up comedy joke from like the mid-2000s. It was the first NPC ever. It was Pablo Francisco, and he imitates Grand Theft Auto.
You familiar with this, Grand Theft Auto? You're familiar with the game? I've never seen anything so evil and fun at the same time. It's a guy running through town, just killing everybody.
And they play the song So Far Away, and I'm so far away. And he turns around, you see him from behind. He does a fake run, and he goes, So there's people doing these things, and it's funny. It's funny. But just like porn, you think it ended with missionary. No, it started going and going and going. And right on the platform that creates all digital STDs, TikTok has taken this to the next level. And I'm not going to explain to you what they're doing. The first thing I'm going to do is just show it to you, because I believe these NPC things, it's like right out of, people are saying it looks like this was pulled out of Black Mirror. I had to confirm that this wasn't AI. I'm like, okay, you know how they have those Tom Cruise videos where there's a fake Tom Cruise walking around?
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking these are fake characters. AI's getting so good. This ChatGPT is getting so good. I'm like, all right, these have to be fake characters. I don't think these are real people, because Lord knows we have idiotic people on TikTok and other social media platforms. But this is this is called NPC. I want you to enjoy some of these. It's these imbeciles right here.
Oh, it's not enjoyable.
Hot. It's my birthday. TikTok. I got the soccer ball. Ice cream. Ice cream. Ooh, hot. The bird.
Ice cream.
Ooh,
Look
hot,
at the person on the left,
rose.
just acting like they're in a low voltage electric chair. It's a permanent buzz, and like I told you, the NPC,
Rose.
they're on a loop. They can do two possible things. So this character on the left, just doing the shot.
A rose. A rose. Meow.
And this other imbecile,
She's done this electrocuting at least over 150 times already.
I'll cool you down. I'll cool you down. I'll cool you down. I'll cool you
well, I
down.
appreciate that, because it is 98 degrees and I'm already starting to sweat. So I could use her to cool me down, but she does nothing of the sort. She just kind of pisses me off. Here's one more.
Roses. Roses. Whack-a-mole. Whack-a-mole. Vampire. Ah. Vampire. Ah. Vampire. Ah.
Yeah, so you can see me dressed like a lifeguard from the 80s, like I'm at, remember at MTV, they used to just be like on a thing dancing? They were like on a, it was kind of like a boardwalk, but they were just, the
Spring
grind.
break? Go to the grind.
The grind or something, and they were just dancing. No phones, no nothing. You're just with strangers, just dancing.
Hey, what's up, people? I'm Dave Chappelle.
So they're live streaming these things, and it's not for nothing.
Oh, it's not for some money.
It's not just because, oh, this is the next viral thing. This is not the ice bucket challenge, which at least had some degree of positivity. And even though people greedily took the attention for themselves, there was a trickle-down monetary benefit for ALS. The monetary benefits go directly in the pockets of these who? Oh, yeah, it just, once again, another thing that just happens to work with the injection of hot girls. Is golf a boring sport? Do guys like watching golf videos? Maybe. Do girls like, well, you want to know what makes people watch golf videos? Golf plus ass. I've talked about this many times before. H&R Block. If they had ass there, more people would be doing their taxes on time. You inject ass to anything and it will make it popular. So yes, this is the next thing. I'd like to see you do one of these.
Oh, I wish people could. Yeah.
Let's see how many views you get.
You better give me $1,000 a zap thing.
All that aside, these people, they're doing these live streams. Then they get tipped, and the way TikTok tips, there's a little alliteration for you. The way they work is you tip, and that tip is in the form of an emoji. So if I give you $5, I purchase a cherry for $5, or I purchase an emoji for $5, that emoji represents 5. Because do you want to know what happens if just it says tip $5? Oh yes, that's right. It's just a legal form of chatterbait. That's really what, mix social media with chatterbait, and it's this. That's what it is. Don't try to convince yourself. And I don't care. I don't care. My big problem is when it's people who like the video games, and I'm just acting like. I found this girl's Twitter. She said, I don't think it's necessarily sexual in nature, and I'm paraphrasing the
Bet you are. I don't even know
A
what that
Freudian
means.
slip. Maybe I am thinking about her teats. So I checked her tweet because this went viral. And then I believe she created a Twitter or something like that because this is just your standard regular person. Oh, I take that
Oh, you
completely
better
back.
take that back.
I mean, it is not somebody with a massive following. Like, we'll get to that in a second. I think you found some of these people.
Oh,
but
yeah.
she tweeted, I don't think this is necessarily sexual in nature. It's just that people like to hear certain things over and over. It tickles a part of the brain. Like, it scratches a part of a brain that we don't really understand. Oh, yes, that's what. I can't believe she even
the
tried.
angry side of my brain.
Yes. So this is what apparently, this is the new craze. This is the new craze. And what I want to know is how in God's name did we arrive at this? And before I get into that, I don't think these necessarily are the leaders of this. I think this was wave 2. I think there was an initial wave, right? You saw some of the people who are popular. What are the overall metrics when it comes
Well,
to...
now there's I looked at the one famous one right now, Pink Lady.
Hello, I'm AI.
She's getting about 3,000 on average a stream, and sometimes up to $7,000 a stream.
You got to figure streams like
stream.
hour, 2 hours. I'm just gonna call them a Chatterbait stream, the Chatterbait TikTok stream, and that's all in the form of emoji tips.
And then one
Do
of
you
the
know the
biggest
limitations
ones,
on emoji? Like, something tells me TikTok's not gonna let you tip $100.
I don't know. I don't know what the limit is. I mean, you can buy for $7, you could buy 330 coins. So however many coins it is to send that bolt of lightning over there.
That's basically like
me?
Icelandic crown. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Remember when we went to Iceland? I've mentioned this on a previous podcast. $100 is like 642,000 Icelandic krona. So when you had to
Ridiculous
pool money
number.
for dinner, it's like, yo, do you have these 648,000 you owe me? So I guess they have some sort of system like this where it obfuscates the actual number, as I now remember acronyms.
I would have never remembered that word. I think this is the first time.
Acronyms for APA. If you stuck around, know that was more of a brain fart than everything. The problem is I was watching that court hearing I told you guys about last week, that UFO. I'll get to this later, but the UFO, UAP, the UAP task force, which turned into the all anomalous domain resolutions to AARP, then there's the Arrow, then there's the NAACP, there's WCW, there's the NWO. There's too many letters for me to memorize, and in the midst of all that, I forgot the word acronym.
fart.
Here's another 3. MXC. Remember that?
Is that
MXC
Mexico?
is that I don't blame you. MXC, if I have it correct, was that Asian-inspired game show on Spike TV where they did absurd things like try to a cutout would come towards them and they tried to fit themselves through it.
Yes, to get past it.
And I remember watching that thinking, what? Oh, I keep forgetting my nose. What kind of imbeciles enjoy a game show like that? Like, this is popular. What kind of
They have some
idiotic
wild game shows over there.
What kind of idiotic television are these people engaging in over? That's what I said when I watched that. And then
It's made it over here on our TikToks. Oh, yeah. The big one that this woman broke out with, she actually broke out of character to tell her son to leave the dog alone and go back to his room. And that's got at least 2.6 million views. She was ironing her hair, broke character to discipline the son. It was pretty good.
that's actually pretty funny. That's actually pretty damn funny. And it makes sense that that would be the most enjoyable because at the end of the day, I don't care who you are, you know that this is preposterous. So to watch something like that happen, to make this to pull this back to reality is definitely something that I would want to watch. Now
you think of like what our parents grew up, their entertainment value, and what
I'll get
2023 brings here.
I'll get to that transition in a second. But one final question about the tipping. I pay money, I get coins, and then I select an emoji, correct?
Yep.
And one thing I forgot to mention, as you heard her saying, what you tip them is what one of them repeats. They, like, if I show an ice cream cone, I think, did she say ice cream? She goes, she licks it, goes, ice cream, I'll cool you down. I'll cool you down. I think you have to be committed to the first sentence you come up with, because these NPCs, they can't have an extended knowledge base. You have to come up with one. I'll give them some creativity there.
Some people are giving them some credit for how fast that they respond if you change up what the tip is.
If they come up with something remotely creative, I will give partial credit. But if they put the emoji of a car and they just go, I'm driving, that's nothing.
What are you doing?
What you have to do is you have to select emojis to make them earn those tokens, earn those coins, earn their corn.
Oh yeah.
And now there's a massive emoji set. I'm just gonna assume. Let's assume that you have the standard emoji spectrum that's on your iOS.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I believe we just watched them go vampire, vampire, and bite, vampire, bite. Oh yeah. How about I give that Blues Brothers guy who's just in like a pencil form floating off the ground? You know what I'm talking about? It looks like one of the Blues. I don't even know what it is. I can't even explain it to you. How the hell is she going to act that out? Looks like I know what I'm doing next week. While you're out there trying to go to the beach, getting bit by a shark. Oh, yeah, that's right. Did you see those videos? Long Island, Miami, right on the shore. In Miami, there's one in ankle distance, a shark's fin just going around. While you're out there, I'm going to be on these streams, and I'm going to be sending that damn Dan Aykroyd Blues Brothers emoji. You see what she said? I'm in the Blues Brothers. I'm in the Blues Brothers. I'm Dan Aykroyd, even though I have no clue what that is. I haven't watched a movie in decades.
Oh, God.
Do you have anything in the emoji spectrum?
An emoji I'd like to see you act out?
Oh, that would be.
I mean, I wish people could send them in.
I'm just trying to go off memory.
Like some animals that they got on there? A T-Rex? I'd love to see you have to act out.
I think the things that are hardest to even explain to me, if you're looking at an emoji.
What about a leaf? What are they doing for a leaf?
They're doing the fall. That's
what they're doing. That's
falling.
the classic old for the leaf.
You have to look at something and say, oh, there's not even a word association with this. What the hell am I even looking at? Do you know that stone guy with the big nose that looks like this thing that I got back holding the question mark behind me?
Easter Island.
What is it? What's he going? I'm a stone man.
He was actually, I believe it was in Night at the Museum, and he had a voice.
If that was me, though, that would have been simple. I would have won Mario Brothers, that thing that comes out. The problem is, there's nobody saying wrong. This is one of those subjective things. They can say anything. And the way it works is, the more absurd they are, the funnier it is. And then when you got a cohort over here in the electric chair the whole time, what I want to know is how the hell did we get here? How did we get here? Every single generation, there are massive differences. There are massive differences in the generation, but it wasn't so far off that it was impossible to see how we got here. In the 70s,
oh yeah,
what do you got?
In the 70s, you got Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, The Godfather, Star Wars. Those are big time things.
How about let's take something like music.
Sure.
So 70s is what that Travolta disco, right? That 70s that's the style. Okay, and you know what? 80s is hair metal and Bon Jovi.
Yep,
Very different. But it ain't so crazy where it's not on the same Google Maps. One is in Tennessee and one is all the way up in Maine, but it's the same area. Then you go to the 90s, you get a little grungier, you get a little Nirvana.
You get a little Nirvana, a little Pulp Fiction,
Yeah, a little
Fight Club.
Green Day, and then you're doing that transition to more pop-oriented stuff and boy bands and
Harry
rap
Potter and
hip-hop.
Britney Spears. Castaway, the movie.
And then 2010.
Poof.
Yeah, Castaway, the movie. Then
you want to
2010.
know the highest grossing films of the 2010s?
You get to where you're right before social media starts. You're 2 years before Instagram, and things aren't that different. You got The Hangover. You got Lady Gaga. It ain't that crazy. You're starting to see EDM poke its mug around. All those decades, if you look at year one of the decade, year two to the decade, it's on the same map. You're on the Earth map. Then cut to 2020. What the hell is this? We went from 2010, The Hangover, and those aforementioned things, which aren't too dissimilar to all the other ones, to, and I know we're in 2023, but even if you go back to 2020, the D'Amelios and dancing and just doing random voiceovers to absurd things, and 8-second increments, fish brain minds that only have 8-second attention spans. How the hell did we get to that? How can a big jump happen like that? There's something called the Norwood Balding chart. I believe that's what it's called. And it has like 5 stages. Stage 1 is you have a little bald spot on the back of your head. Stage 2, I think you have a big receded hairline. Stage 3, it's starting to meet each other. Stage 4, you're George Costanza. Stage 5, I think you're just bald. Where is the Norwood Balding chart of how the hell we got to human beings acting like this? It's just, where is the transition? You know how when you look at like clouds, it's like, oh, I don't really see that. But then if you speed up a camera, you say, oh yeah, the clouds are really moving. There's a picture or a video rather that shows the walls and stuff. It looks like nothing is moving, but it's moving so incrementally that by the end of it, the walls and windows have actually changed. But how the hell can something like this happen so quick? And what I think is there's a direct correlation between technology and stupidity, the incline. You know, I think this has been talked about and it's known. Technology is on an exponential graph. If you look from the 50s to 60s, 60s to 70s, 70s to 80s, minimal gains. And then you look from 2000 to now, and it's just a steep incline. I think there's a direct correlation between the steep incline in technology with the steep decline in IQ and intellect. I believe that the smarter we are in terms of technology, the more technologically savvy we get, the dumber the people actually become. And if you're to believe what's said about kids and graduate, I believe your average person reads at a 6th grade level when they graduate high school nowadays. I don't know
it's called the reverse Flynn effect, where actually the IQs are going down. The Flynn effect is that like IQs every year since, I forget what year it was, from then until like 2009, something like that, that IQs were going up 3 to 5%, 3 to 5 points every year. And now we're going down.
I was unaware of that. I can offer 2 things. Number 1, a classic stand-up comedy joke where that says only dumb people reproduce. You know, dumb people have sex, and essentially we've fucked ourselves out of knowing who built the pyramids. Like smarter people built the pyramids, but the dumbest people kept reproducing, and it got us to a point where we don't know how people generations back actually built those. And there's that potential. And then think about something like knowing how to spell. It's just not necessary.
It's
You'll
true.
always have a device with you
Very
that's
true.
making those corrections, this, that, and the other.
I was very good in spelling in elementary.
Thank you for adding that. That's a skill that's pretty much as unnecessary as they come now.
Obsolete now.
You know what's nuts? I've re-forgotten the abbreviated versions of what they're. It's. I forgot what NPC is called.
Oh,
It's a non-playable character.
non-playable character. Yes.
I understand, but what are those called again? They're called. Oh my god, I'm a piece of garbage. I am right on this
Playable.
precipitous decline, and
I have an excuse for all this short-term memory here.
oh yeah, that's what we all go. Oh, it was ADD. You know how many things I've blamed on ADD? I've blamed every last thing on global warming and ADD. Why are you late? Oh, global warming. ADD, look at me, I'm sweating. And so yeah, there is I think there's a natural decline in intellect, and my big advice to all you people out there: don't work with anyone, don't hire anyone born after. I'll be nice and say 95. But I'm thinking potentially earlier than that. Definitely 2000. I have my own brother was born after 2000. Sorry, not hiring you. And I'm not hiring any of your friends. My advice is hire older people because you don't want these people. You do not want these young people working with you. Well, what's it called? It's called Flynn's law, Flynn's theory.
It's the reverse Flynn effect.
The reverse Flynn. We've been reverse Flynned.
Reverse Flynn.
And the reverse Flynn has led us to this. And who knows where we're going from here. The crazy thing is, what if you're somebody, we have friends like this, you have no social media, you're also very, and it's a good thing, you're very entrenched in your life, you have responsibilities, whether it's your job, your house, your wife, your kids, you don't have time to be keeping up on this. The rate that things are going on outside that bubble, there's a movie, but people obviously know it for the book, called The Time Machine. The movie it wasn't great. But what happened in The Time Machine was, I forget the name of the character, was played by Guy Pearce. He knocks his head and then the time machine starts. So he's passed out in the time machine, and outside generations and generations and decades, centuries are going by. All as he's sleeping. Years and years and years and years and years are going by. That's what I feel like your average person is, who is kind of not paying attention to everything that's going on. He's Guy Pearce in the time machine, knocked out inside as generations are going by ahead of time outside. He would have missed that Twitter is now called X.
X.
What do you think about that idea?
I don't get it.
I don't mind him wanting to make it his own. He bought a thing called Twitter and wants to make it his own.
Why X though?
I think the thought is, hey, let's all be under the same kind of umbrella. Like, I want my name to be the same on Instagram as it is TikTok. They're high value in that, so people can find me.
Sure.
I think he wants SpaceX. He wants it under the X brand. But of all the letters to choose,
X.
have you ever added a couple extra X's? 1, 2, 3 X's to any Google search? Do you know what it? So all your searches now with X.
Don't do it.
You want to add X to that? A movie that I'm pretty sure you've seen. I know I've seen it with Vin Diesel. It's called Triple X.
Triple X, yeah.
And many times I wanted to show people the nightclub scene in Triple X, because when I was young, I assumed that this is what nightclubs were in Eastern Europe. And the funny thing is, I want to tell you to go look up the scene. What are you going to have to do? You're going to have to go to Google and type in XXX club scene. Yeah, what do you think that's pulling for you? Oh, you can add Vin Diesel. You can add Vin Diesel.
Don't do it while you're at work.
Oh, absolutely not. That's getting flagged,
Don't
going
suggest it.
directly to HR. By the way, please call me down. Please call me down. I'm sweating, but I don't care. The Vin Diesel Triple X scene, I always thought that's what clubs were like in Eastern Europe. However, I haven't been able to send that to people because I can't be searched. Yeah, I could search it on my own computer, but it actually becomes a nightmare to try to find it. If you want to feel lucky on like HBO, Now, Go, Max, Upside Down, whatever, maybe you can try it that way. But you search for anything on Google. Now, same type of thing applies. You add an X, it's just adding an extra layer of potential results that you don't want to see. And
Or
if you're
maybe
one of
you
those
do.
people, Yeah, if you're one of those people like me who unchecks the hide filtered results, you might be seeing some things that you don't want to see. But then again, I've actually searched for things on Twitter, like I've searched for like a lowest contract NHL, and by the 10th video, you're always getting porn. You're always getting porn.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if there's a scam they got going where every single term that's ever been searched, they just put with a porn video to get you or to get you somehow. You Google XXX, you know what that's pulling. You might get lucky with X, but do you remember the relic of single X porn? It may be less sexual in nature than some of these TikTok NPC half chatterbait streams. It was HBO after midnight.
Oh yeah,
Cinemax
Showtime,
after midnight.
Skinemax, the
they
old
called it.
Skinemax.
So you always knew about that, and then you heard about hardcore porn. What was that? XXX. What the hell is the forgotten about porn? XXX.
XX.
You can. Is there such a thing? Can you hit doubles in porn?
They refer to XX as softcore porn. XXX is hardcore, and X is content unsuitable for children. Which, I mean, you could really make a lot of stuff X that isn't X now, that it should be like this. When kids
Yeah,
watching
this is X.
This is X right here. Let's put more X's out there.
That's what Elon's trying to do.
Hey, now I get it. All right.
That is what Elon's trying to do. He's trying to bring the X to the world. I just don't know of all the letters to choose. If you could go with if you could rebrand it, you don't have to come up with a name.
Yeah. Are we doing just a letter or a name?
What's a letter? What's a good letter?
I mean, what's your favorite letter? I've never thought of a favorite letter.
I know what he wants to do is he wants to make his app. There's something called WeChat in China, where it's just full content.
Sure.
It does everything.
Sure.
You name something, the WeChat app does it. It probably does. It probably has TikTok in there. It has your bank account. It's everything in one. He wants to make the artist formerly known as Twitter the everything app. All your stuff is going to be available there, but in a non-communist fashion. So if it's an everything app, what the hell letter is associated with everything?
Anytime I hear everything, I always think bagel. That's all that goes through my head. It's the only thing that ever goes in. Is it anytime somebody says it?
I was never an everything bagel guy, man.
Oh, man. Give me a good everything. Now everybody's putting the everything seasoning on everything. Have you seen that? Avocado toast, hummus, you name it. They're putting the everything seasoning on it.
If you have a bacon, egg, and cheese on an everything bagel,
Oh, my God.
you taste everything, and then you taste the bacon, egg, and cheese. If you can even...
Oh, stop. I used to get egg everything bagel, double sausage, egg and cheese. Delicious.
We are on different ends of the spectrum.
Oh, we are.
When
you can fit in that tank top and I can't. That's the spectrum.
Well, then I should say, hey, give me a bacon, egg, and cheese on a plain bagel. You should say, give me an everything bagel with bacon, egg, and cheese.
Bacon, egg, and cheese on a sesame bagel.
When I was thinking about like that transition from like, how did we go from the movie Airplane to this? I hurt my neck a couple days ago,
Oof.
and it finally is feeling better.
That's great.
20 years ago, I would have been good that night.
Yeah.
10 years ago, a day or two. Now it's the full 3 days. 20 years ago, you get drunk on Thursday, you're good Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Now you get drunk before Thursday Night Football, I will see you Monday night. There's natural progressions, except with this shit. Maybe there's that legendary, I don't know if it's a chart. I don't know. We were told it's associated with a band, but it's the cartoon image of ape to man, but after the man, just walking. After the man, it's a robot. My only theory I got left is we're at the part in between human and robot, where it halvesies and a half human, half robot thinks this is entertaining and funny. That's my only potential theory that I can come up with.
Yeah, Amazon sells a T-shirt with that picture on it.
Does it have a name for it? Is it just called human evolution?
Prehistoric ape to monkey to man to robot evolution.
Yes. Well, you search that. Don't add the letter X, and you'll be able to see the exact thing.
Ape to man to robot, double X.
Name changes. My thought is with Twitter, the same way we're talking about it. You obviously are a fan of football. We watch where do the Pittsburgh Steelers play?
Where do the big old Heinz Field?
Yeah,
been there.
Supposedly the name changed 2 years ago. No, I don't care. You don't have to think of what it really is. It will remain Heinz Field until an option that sounds better goes with it.
I don't know what it is. Wow, you're right. And I knew that they changed. I just didn't even remember.
I'll still say Giant Stadium.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not doing that MetLife garbage.
No way. What do you think about L.A., the Staples Center? It's not the Staples Center anymore.
I 100% call it the Staples Center.
No doubt.
Wait, what is it like these long crypto names? Like cryptobunkers.net.org? There's no way I'm calling it that. You know, this is something that we've talked about all summer.
Yeah, it's the crypto arena.
Oh, just crypto.com or just generic cryptocurrency arena? You see this? It's not even
crypto.com arena.
Of course.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm happy, by the way, it wasn't only us complaining. Apparently this weather has affected the whole world. You know, they've been talking about how crazy hot that it's been lately.
Yeah. Italy has like wildfires going on right now.
And as you can probably see from the sweat glistening, it's no different here. We've already complained about it enough. But the good news is, as I sent you earlier today, after that UAP, UFO, I still don't even remember the, oh my.
Boy, you're really.
But I said to you before, major scientific breakthrough today. I'm going to paraphrase, but a lab in Korea, nice to know that it's going down over there and we didn't do this, announces the first ambient environment, regular temperatures and pressure. It's a superconductor. If this is true, we can basically always be at room temperature, and wherever the first place that has that is a place that you can find me and no mosquitoes.
That's why we're doing this podcast.
Yes, this podcast will be the first in this ambient environment, and who knows what we'll be breathing in there, but it's better than whatever the hell we're breathing. Remember when it smelled like fire outside a month or two ago because of those wildfires and whatnot? But lastly, I just want to let you know, if you haven't watched it, you can see it on YouTube. I started taping this podcast right after it ended, essentially, shortly after it ended. The UFO alien court, whatever. They brought 3 guys in front of multiple members of Congress. 1 whistleblower and 2 other people, and questioned them. Usually these things are all a scam. They never release anything. This one was very good. It's different when you hear, like when I told you guys about that story on the news, it's one thing to just hear it on the news. It's like, I don't know. I've heard things like this. When you see them on that C-SPAN network and they are under oath with that right arm raised and they say under oath that alien beings have been recovered.
If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries, yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
And this isn't Judge Judy, the People's Court. This is with all those people you see in the news, with all them there, and you hear them say that.
Well, they said some crazy stuff.
They
love it. I don't want to say crazy. Some good stuff.
There's a chance we finally know. Do you know what the theory is, by the way? The theory is the reason they are rushing all this now is it was learned, you can believe this if you want, I don't care, that something bad might happen in 2026.
Oh, God.
And there's a rush to actually now, we have to tell everyone so all the scientists can get on and all that. And the quickest way they can do that is accelerating this process to normalize it quickly.
What is this, Armageddon's happening now? Get me Bruce Willis on the phone.
I don't think it's like an asteroid. I think there's going to be a mass visitation.
Holy hell.
So whether that's good,
Thor
bad,
and Loki are coming out of the sky, or...
They can't be that much worse than this.
I know. I think I'd rather them.
They're not going to act out your emojis. I'll tell you that. Watch this. Of all the people they spare, it's these assholes. All right, Everett, I think that's what I got for you here today on this. I am an NPC character, but rather than saying one or two sentences, I've said a whole hell of a lot more than, I don't know if this white cream on my nose is still around, but what the hell was why do people do that? Why do people have
can't get that sunburn on the nose, man. You got to layer it up.
So you rub it in, and then you put an additional.
Yeah, why not?
What is that? Why
See,
is
yours has
why
worked in a little bit. You know, it's not all just sitting there anymore. A lot of it's worked in.
Well,
now.
because I forgot it was there, and I felt an itch throughout the podcast. Why do people shove it on the nose like that? How is that any different than shoving it?
Well,
right
look
here?
at me. I mean, my nose is out there. It's the first thing getting hit on my face. Got to keep it covered, dude.
I think it's for look.
You think it's for a look? I think
it's for look.
I mean, it's not a good look.
If you're wearing, or if you've got the nose white, what's the next thing you think of? What's on top of the nose?
Glasses.
Yeah.
With the thing around the neck.
I was just going to say, why is the thing always there? If you have the white nose, why does it always come with the kind of Wayfarer shades?
Yep.
Plastic thick on the side
neck holder.
With the shirt. Why does the neck string have to be there? That's why I think it's more of a look. The white nose is more of a look. But I do want to tell you something for all you relatively tan people out there. We went to Mexico decades ago. I brought no sunscreen. I was fine. I went to my brother's 21st on a boat a year and a half ago. I felt burning like I never felt in my life. Something's going on with that sun out there. I don't know what it is other than I don't really like it. You can find me.
2026, we'll find out.
Hope we got that ambient temperature box ready. All right, everyone, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I tried to give you some nice juice today. I think you got some nice juice. I will be back with you next week as we talk about God knows what. The countdown is at 6 weeks, roughly 6 weeks. But then again, once you're at that Labor Day weekend, how far are we from Labor? I feel like it's 5 weeks. 6?
I don't even know. I don't think I've paid attention to a Labor Day in the last 5 years.
So once you get to Labor Day weekend, you know you're there. We're almost at the end of the summer. Then when you're at the end of the summer, yeah, you may still get some scorchers after that, but you get the sports, you get the temperatures, and you can watch
fantasy football drafts.
I mean, that's always a great thing.
What are you watching?
One last thing.
It's a scam.
That's a scam.
What a scam that was.
So this was all a scam, huh?
We got sports in a couple weeks, but there is one sport going on, and it happens to be our sport scam of the week. And that's going to be Major League Scammer or soccer, which every couple of years they try the same parlor trick of bringing in some sort of megastar. And this time they really brought the star of all stars. They tried Beckham because Beckham was a mega celebrity.
He was on the end. They get them all at the end.
Including this one. So Major League Soccer, every time they start a new club, they started Orlando, they brought in Kaká, they started the second New York team, brought in David Villa, they brought in Schweinsteiger, they brought in Ibrahimovic, they brought in Steven Gerrard, they've brought everyone under the sun. But now they've played their final trick because this is the best player of all time, or number 2 or 3, depending on who you ask, but he ain't below number 3 in anyone's rankings. And if this guy doesn't elevate the MLS, and I don't want to hear, no, the MLS is growing, like there's new teams. I don't know a single person who ever said, hey, come over, let's watch the MLS. I never heard somebody say, hey, let's go. I've heard people saying, yeah, I'm going to the MLS game because my dad is gone. He make me. Well, yeah. I've never heard people voluntarily going there. I know in Seattle.
We have sports teams. It's these places that have no major.
I imagine Austin FC. Well,
Portland, Austin, huge followings. Nothing to do.
I don't doubt that.
Sports-wise.
I do not dislike soccer.
You got Texas Longhorn football. That's it.
Two things. One, as an American society, we never accept number two. If we learned that the NBA was the second best league, we would watch. The same reason me and you would watch the Champions League final before we would the MLS final. You watch the best players play in every single sport. We don't, and it's not even the second best league. It ain't even the fourth best league. It's such a bad league compared to the other competitive ones. It holds its season during the opposite time. The MLS season goes on during the summer when all the other ones are off. That's because it's trying every trick of the trade. It's just like these TikTokers trying anything to get themselves a click. And bring in Messi there.
Oh, they got some clicks.
It's just another scam. He's going to have his moments. But within 2 years, he'll be maybe playing every once in a while. And we're all going to go back to not knowing who the most recent MLS champion was, and Messi will probably return to another team like Ibrahimovic and all those other guys did. David Beckham went back to AC Milan. So don't fall for soccer is, as a hockey guy, the level of disgusted I was when I saw, MLS is about to take over. It's about to leap the NHL. The NHL has had a steady audience for decades, and everybody always doesn't include the fact that the country of Canada doesn't have ratings and it's NFL up there. So if you take us and them for that sport, it blows it out of the water. Plus, the NHL was just the most watched it's been in 10 years. And it was the Vegas Golden Knights and Florida Panthers in the final. I won't hear anything like that. I understand it will always be number 4, even with that dead, dying hellhole known as baseball. But it will never.
America's pastime.
Yeah. It's past the time for that. It's finished. We've tried to watch simply.
It took gambling to get us to watch.
And I still can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't.
I don't even care if my bet hits anymore. Just turn it off.
I'd rather
put it on YouTube or something. I'll take anything.
I've said goodbye 9 times, like those phone calls that happened 20 years ago that none of you know about, where you say goodbye.
I'll talk to you later. Yeah, I'll talk to you later.
Say goodbye. All right. Well, this is where I'm going to say goodbye, and this is where I'm going to remind you, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to this channel. If you're listening on an audio platform, you're one of those random Google podcast people where you actually Google the podcast, and there is a Google podcast app, but you Google the podcast, you listen to it there, subscribe on whatever platform you listen to. I will continue to sweat over here for me and for Nick Papagiorgio, the first of his name. We will be back with you next week, and we will have a whole another set of nonsense topics to talk about. Take it easy, have a good one, and we will talk to you then.